Hey everyone, what's going on? I am DB and welcome to the channel. Today, let's have a talk about some failures that I've had. Before we get into the content, make sure that you hit that unsubscribe button. I noticed that I've picked up like 5 subscribers in the last couple of days, and what are you guys doing? You got better things you could go watch, like Linus Tech Tips. But for now, let's go ahead and get into this content. One of the first failures that I've ever had was deciding to be an accountant. Now, why was that a failure? Because ultimately, at the end of the day, spoiler alert,
I never became an accountant.
but I did get to work in an accounting related field for about 2 years. And one of the best things that ever happened to me in my life from that failure was I was handed a book called VBA for Dummies, which I actually think I have. Hold on, be right back. 1 second. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I actually didn't think that I would find this, but here's the actual copy of VBA for Dummies that I actually was talking about. And you can see I've even got like little sticky notes in this thing. Holy cow. This one actually, well, I lost what that was for, but this looks like it was for dialogue boxes on chapter 15. Honestly, it was one of the first experiences that I've ever had into programming. And the 30 days that I was given by my boss to learn VBA to automate some processes for my job was one of the funnest experiences that I ever had at that job. It's what motivated me actually to go back to school and go for computer science. So I ended up going back to school at about 28 years old and finishing around 31 with my master's degree in computer science. But here comes failure number two. Number three. I've lost count at this point. I didn't get a job offer after going through the end of college. In fact, all the places that I applied to, rejection, internships, rejection. I had friends working at places that I knew, rejection.
Hi, I'm gonna skip to the point where he stopped saying that. I think it took him about 30 minutes of saying rejection before he finally stopped. You're welcome.
And after all that rejection, you do feel like a failure. I definitely felt like a failure, but it definitely hurts when you don't get that job offer. That's for sure. One interesting thing ended up happening in my thesis defense, of all places, that I never would have expected to happen for me. After my thesis defense, my professors actually offered me a chance to teach. In fact, they openly discussed it with me during my thesis defense and said, hey, do you want to teach computer science? Keep in mind a couple of things. First, number one, at this time, like, I'm still really new to computer science. I definitely didn't start at a young age like there are many people out there who do. And then, now I'm just in my 30s and like, yeah, sure, I love this stuff, but I felt so intimidated at the time to try to teach that I almost turned that down. And that actually could have been a failure for me. Even though I failed getting a job right away after college, I ended up teaching computer science. So fast forward now, I'd been teaching for about a year and a half at this point, and honestly, I was having a blast. Was it my dream job at the way I pictured it in my head? No, it definitely wasn't the way I originally pictured it. And I did the normal thing of applying to all the different FANG companies that a lot of people do. And I applied to Facebook, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, everywhere. It was a long road, and honestly, I started to almost give up on actually becoming a software engineer and, maybe becoming a full-time professor, or even reaching out to recruiters. I remember very distinctly one recruiter, and I asked them, hey, I really appreciate all the feedback you've given me. What can I do to better myself for the next time that I apply? And the response I got was, well, I noticed that you don't code in about 80% of your day-to-day, so unless you can get to somewhere around there, it's not likely that you'll be able to be ready to interview here. After hearing that, I almost was kind of like broken towards the process, where I was just like, I don't think I can do this. It was very, very interesting to hear someone say, I just don't think you can do it given your current circumstances. Honestly, like at that point, I was just like, okay, well, we'll keep trying. We'll keep pushing forward, and we'll try to find a way to make this work somehow. Here's where the story finally takes a positive turn. One day, while I was just doing some little bit of research to put some notes together for a class that I was going to, I had done a Google search, and in the middle of the search, I ended up seeing a prompt that said, "You're speaking our language. Do you want to play a game?" And whatever, I was just like, yeah, let's play this game. It turned out to be a set of coding challenges. I was able to complete most of them. I was reached out to by a recruiter who was willing to start the interview process with me. That's a whole nother separate story that I'll probably tell sometime in the future. After completing the interview process, I was finally offered an opportunity to work as a software engineer. So let's fast forward now to present day today, right now. I'm still there. I've been there for about 2.5 years, and it's been an amazing experience. But the most important takeaway from this video that you can have is this. I was never perfect in my journey, and I don't expect any of you to ever be perfect in your journeys either. I'm a 34-year-old software engineer who figured out he wanted to be a software engineer probably at about like 25 or 26. And ever since, I have been on this crazy adventure that has been full of ups and downs. It's been full of successes and failures. I'm definitely not the smartest person in the room, but so many hours of practice, so many hours studying together with friends in like a library or at a Starbucks, or just all the preparation for the one day in hopes that I would get an opportunity. I feel like, without that, then I wouldn't be where I am today. Remember, there was something where I told you it turned out to be a success that I'd talk about later? I found out that I love to teach. I want to spend that time teaching everybody. Programming isn't necessarily the hardest thing to get into. And that was one of the stigmas that was always in my head before I started programming. You're definitely smart enough to do this. And it took me a long time for me to figure that out for myself. And you could also say that's a failure, but I say that's a success in my book. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this. My name is IamDB. Well, actually, my channel name is IamDB. It'd be kind of weird if my name was really IamDB, wouldn't it? We've got plenty of stuff to talk about in the meantime. But thanks for visiting. I hope you're having an awesome day. Other than that, peace out. Have a good one, everybody.